Okay, there we are at 7 o'clock. So thank you everyone for being here tonight. This is the student workshop session for using Zoom. And I applaud you. You're already using Zoom because here we are tonight having our meeting with it. But we're so glad you're here. And we want to show you a few things in Zoom that we think it might be handy for you as the semester progresses and your faculty members or your professors keep using Zoom. So here with me tonight are my director, Susan Sutton. So hello, Susan.
Hello.
And my really awesome colleague, Zach Corder. Hey, Zach.
Hello.
So we're just thrilled to have y'all here tonight and to look at Zoom a little bit more in depth with you. Zach and Susan will both be watching the chat window for me tonight. So if you have a question and you don't, if you're a little bit like me and you probably wouldn't speak up and interrupt somebody, feel free to put it in the chat window, or I don't mind at all if you want to interrupt me. So that's just fine too. So however you're comfortable asking questions, feel free to do that. All right, so I'm going to change my share window. And here we are in the user version of Zoom. So this screen should look very similar to your screen with the controls at the bottom. So I just wanted to talk about those controls for just a minute. To the very far left, you see the audio and the video. Now, if you notice my audio setting there, it is indicating to me that I haven't joined with audio. And I did that on purpose tonight because if I have two computers this close in vicinity, then there's a lot of feedback. So I didn't join with audio, but if you wanted to, say you're in the middle of a Zoom session and you're like me and you have kids at home and they come in, you can always click down here and it will put the red slash through the audio. That means you've temporarily disabled it. And then if it's not on there, then your audio is on. So you have control over that. The next button over is the start video. And you notice on this one, it's off as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and say hi to you guys. So if the slash is through it, it's off. If it's not, it's on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on, and you can see that you can see my house, right? So maybe sometimes that table isn't always that clean and I don't want people to see my house, right? So we have a solution for that, and that is called a virtual background. So to use a virtual background, we're going to go back to that video button and we're going to click the little arrow next to it. And one of our choices here is choose virtual background. So I'm going to go ahead and click it. And Zoom has some preloaded for you, but we also have the option of loading one for ourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and click that button. Before our session started tonight, I downloaded some backgrounds that I thought were interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and choose one of those. So a nice beach scene. Now, you see that happening. That is because I need to update my son's operating system. I'm using his computer for my second computer tonight, and he needs an updated operating system. So let me show you what that would look like in a little bit better context. So I'm going to switch my screen again, or actually I'm going to stop share for a minute. Okay, so that would actually look like a little bit nicer. Let me choose the grass one. So here I would just be in a bunch of tall grass, or I could be in wherever, is that San Diego or somewhere, I'm not sure. Or I could even have a little video clip and be at the beach. So lots of good choices there. The thing with this is that you want to remember when you're picking a background to use, that you want to pick it large enough. So the resolution size, or the size that you want to look for an image, is 1920 by 1080. So 1920 by 1080 pixels per inch. So when you talk about graphics online, they measure in pixels per inch. So there's a really neat site that I wanted to share with you quickly. It's called Pixabay, because anytime you're Googling stuff from the internet or you're borrowing stuff from the internet, will say, we want to know that the site license is allowing us to do that. So Pixabay is just full of images that are there to be used. And most of the time, the only thing that's asked is that you give credit to the person who took the picture, because it's a way for photographers to get exposure. So here, why don't somebody in the chat window give me a suggestion for a background? Because I'm going to search for a background. Somebody give me a suggestion.
Puppy dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm a cat person. Oh, the Grand Canyon. Okay. I'm not going to let my cat hear us say that. Okay. So lots of puppy dogs. So if we go up to the top, we want that perfect size, right? The 1920 by 1080. So we're going to go to size, and we're just going to specify 1920 by 1080. And I know it's measuring in pixels because I see the PX. So I'm just going to go ahead and go there. So now it's just going to limit me to all the images that fit within those parameters. So there are a lot of cute puppies. I'm going to pick this little white one. Small house, small dog. So on the side, after I choose that one, I see he's free to download. So I'm going to go ahead and click him. And again, the sizes come up, and this is perfect here, 1920 by 1275. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. Prove I'm not a robot, and download it. So now once it's on my desktop, I'll have it to load into my virtual background. And now let's just see what that will look like. I'll add that image and get that little cutie. And there he is. So that's a neat way. If you don't want to show your background, that's a neat way not to have to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our screen here. Okay, so the next one over is the chat button. So you guys are familiar with chat, but we wanted to point out that if you're in the middle of a class and your professor asks you to upload a file, then you have that option here. So you click on file, it opens a window to your desk. I mean, to your desktop, your computer top, and you can click on it and upload an image. You can also save the chat if you know, there's some good notes in that chat and you didn't get them written down while the class was going on. You can save the chat window to your computer. And also the account that I'm in right now is in a breakout room, and we'll talk about those in just a moment. But also in chat, you see up here the notation "me to everyone." So I'm chatting within a breakout room. So the only people who are going to see my chat currently are the people in this breakout room. But if I was outside in the main room, like you got, like all of us are together, when I went down here and typed my message, I could choose here anybody in this Zoom meeting, if I wanted to send a private message, I could send one to Zach, or I could send one to Alicia. I could specify who I wanted that message to go to. Now, sometimes your professors will have this capability turned off if they don't want people chatting during their class. Then certainly they have the ability to make this not available to you. So if you don't see the chat, there's nothing wrong with your Zoom account. It's just that they have disabled it for your class meeting.
Sometimes they'll also use a chat as a poll or to do a quick little survey, like a formative assessment, to see what students know and don't know about a topic so they know where to start for the discussions. There's also a file button down there where you can upload and download files. Say you're in the middle of a class and you want to share a file with all the other students in the class or with your faculty member, or the faculty member wants to share a file with you, you can do that. But those features all have to be turned on by the faculty member in order for you to do that.
Absolutely. Okay, so going on across, we see the screen share. And so that's another feature.
Do something and then you just stop. And then if you come out on top of me.
Was that a question? Let me turn my volume up a little bit. Okay, so screen share. Sometimes in your class, your professor might ask you to share your screen, right? If you're working, or like for this person who's in a breakout room, if you're working in a group, you might want to share your screen. So the button in the very center of your Zoom screen, the share screen, if you activate it, it gives you choices of what you can share. And basically, it's any window you have open on your desktop. So for instance, on this computer, if I had Google Chrome open, then that would be a choice. Or I could do, flip back and forth through there. But let me get rid of Google Chrome. There we go. So there's also on here a whiteboard that you can activate. So you can, if you have an iPad, it's an especially neat feature, but if you have a trackpad or even with your mouse, you can write on the whiteboard if you need to share a math problem or an illustration. That's available to you. I am not the best mouse drawer, obviously, but all kinds of tools there, different colors and different features there. Okay. So any questions so far? I don't want to go so fast that you don't have an opportunity to ask questions if you would like to. Okay. So again, in the breakout room, and how breakout rooms work, we are all in the main breakout room, and I am mirroring the display from my second computer, so I have the ability to show you the Zoom features. So this computer is in a breakout room. So there's a feature down here that you probably don't see on your screen, and that's the record button. So if you're in a breakout room, you're having a group meeting, you have the ability to record it, which is nice. And then you can do a reaction to something that your professor is saying, or something that's going on in the class. You have a button for reactions. So again, if you don't, typically want to say something out loud, you can use the reaction buttons. And under breakout room, you can see who's in your room. So when I click breakout rooms, you can see who's in your room. You also have the ability to leave the room, but most often your professor will close the room when they're ready for you to be finished. So you only want to leave the room if that's the way they have set it up. to happen. Okay. So I have zoomed right through that to not to use that as a pun, but I have. Okay, so typically there's a button here to call the host of the session. So if you're in the Zoom room and you have a question for your faculty member or need their attention for some reason, there would be a call host button there. I'm not quite sure why it's not there tonight, but there would be that button there should you need to call your faculty member. Okay. So another thing we wanted to show you, any questions on the Zoom?
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, great. Can students record the Zoom meetings too, or just the teachers? That would just be the instructors. To mine, and Susan and Zach, do you find that to be the case as well?
I think it has to be the host of the meeting, I believe.
Yeah, the host of the meeting. Now, if you're in a breakout room, you can record, but you can't record the entire meeting. That's a good question. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to stop that share, and I want to hop over to our website. So I'm going to go back to Google, and I want to show you on the Roane State, on our CTAT website, we have some more resources for you. So the easiest way to get there is to go to the Roane State homepage, go to faculty and staff, and then down to CTAT. So from here, we have a student training tab at the top. And if you notice at the bottom of that drop-down menu, Zoom student resources. So all types of information here for you, from getting your computer set up to the general use of Zoom. So that's a nice backup if you have questions and it's outside of CTAT hours, because you're always welcome to call us. Then you always have this resource at your fingertips as well.